Did you know the most dangerous site on the dark web? Silk Road, or the Silk Route. This site has everything forbidden, illegal, and dangerous in the universe. All shady, secret deals happen there. The weird thing is that every time Interpol catches the people running it, the site shuts down for a while, a few weeks or months, then returns stronger than before. According to some sources, powerful entities back this site, more powerful than the great world powers, making it a red line. Anyone who gets close or messes with it might disappear and end their story on this planet completely. All right, seeing all this terror and grandeur, imagine someone stole more than $3 billion from this site. Even crazier, the site's owner, the most dangerous thing humanity has known, contacted the thief directly, offered him a reward worth 4,000 bitcoins, millions of dollars, just to explain how he stole it. But the hacker refused. The end of this story is unexpected and something the mind can't accept. For those seeing us for the first time, we're the Did You Know channel, and we talk about everything unknown, strange, and mysterious. Today, I'm excited to tell you the strangest and dumbest hacker story in the world. A guy who played with the biggest dark website, pulled insane money from them, lived a life of total luxury, and in the end, did something incomprehensible that got him into a bizarre story no one could enter, but he insisted and went all the way. The things he did led the police and investigators to a treasure weighing less than 20 grams. Of course, I know why he did it. Don't ask me now how or why. I'll answer everything on your mind. Before we start today's story, I'd like to welcome the new subscribers to our channel. Recently, and to whoever came across this video by chance and is seeing us for the first time, we're a channel that loves diving into every detail of super strange topics and learning from them. So subscribe and be part of our journey to million subs. You definitely won't regret it. Grab your drink and let's fly. Before we start our story, we need to understand how Silk Road works to get you more in the mood and grasp the scale of what we're talking about today. Silk Road site was and still is one of the most famous dark websites. The services it offers range from the smallest thing to the biggest, from selling small, simple weapons to buying organs and humans. You could say it's like Amazon. You go in, set up a store, start selling, people come and buy from you. But everything there is forbidden, sinful, and extremely dangerous. Entering the dark web in general, and this site specifically, is like throwing yourself off the 1,000th floor. If you manage to reach this site, you've harmed yourself excessively. The reason is hackers are insanely active there. Any move you make there, no matter how simple or normal, like clicking a link, entering a specific icon, or even doing nothing, just entering that place means you're at risk any moment of losing all your data, then getting blackmailed and your private files spread everywhere. If they get you and you don't respond or pay what they demand, you're at risk of your pictures being edited into every bad clip your mind can imagine, or pictures of people in your data. In all cases, you'll be ruined. Imagine official, licensed global sites periodically saying they lost 1 billion accounts or 50 million leaked. What about a site dedicated to this? So my advice, don't get close or gamble. You're not up for it. There's no benefit and it could cause irreplaceable losses. The key point from all this is that anyone thinking of entering these sites must prioritize absolute secrecy. Secrecy in this world must be extreme. When you enter, your name must be fake, your account fake, your payment method fake, and untraceable. It's unreasonable for someone to buy a human organ part and pay with their bank account. So the payment method there is digital currencies, and from the first day Bitcoin was invented, it was adopted as the official currency for these sites. There are opinions saying the ones who invented cryptocurrencies from the start were hackers who created them for dealings in this world. But things evolved and became more regulated, turning digital currencies from secret to financial value usable everywhere. Anyway, suppose someone wants to buy something from the dark web and enters Silk Road. What does he do? He goes, buys digital currencies from normal platforms, then enters this site via special search engines, takes the item he came for, pays with digital currencies, and leaves. After all this talk and explanation, you now fully understand the mechanism followed.
This whole explanation was so when I tell you our guy's story today and what he did, you'll get it right away. Now it's time to meet Jimmy Zhong. His appearance doesn't suggest he can play with the big boys and challenge them. On April 13, 1990, specifically in the American state of Georgia, Jimmy Zhong was born. As you see, Jimmy's features and name indicate Asian origins. The neighborhood Jimmy lived in was mostly Germans and naturalized Europeans. These people are very racist, so school for him was a nightmare until he turned 12. He was suffering from this until he turned 12 when his parents divorced and he stayed with his mom. The first thing she did was make him drop school. A very natural reaction from a mom who went through divorce, thinking, we're strangers to this place, let's isolate from society and stay home.
Then Jimmy asked his mom to buy him a computer, saying he wanted to learn from it. Of course, Jimmy was a little devil. This wasn't true. He wanted the computer for games. He tricked his mom with the education story, and indeed the mom, wanting to compensate her son for losing his dad, didn't lie and bought him the computer. The young man started sitting in front of it for hours, and here's a small thing that happened. You might see it as unimportant, but it led Jimmy to what he reached later. About a year after the mom's divorce and Jimmy sitting in front of the computer for hours, neighbors told the police that the mom made her son drop school and submitted fake papers saying he transferred somewhere else while he was actually home all the time, isolated from the world and drowned in video games. Naturally, the police, in cooperation with a specialized agency for such cases, raided the mom's house, arrested her. She was tried and paid a huge fine. At the same time, they took Jimmy to his psychological and social care center for a month, then returned him to school, but not his same school, an experimental special institute. Naturally, the committee overseeing Jimmy's care made this decision, saying he's a smart kid with a computer obsession, so we can benefit from his abilities positively. On this basis, he was transferred to this institute, whose idea wasn't new but not widespread. This institute blends regular education and technology. Don't forget, we're talking 2003. Concepts were still new and experimental. Anyway, Jimmy continued smoothly. When he turned 18, he studied programming at the University of Georgia. From the first 2 years, he entered the job market but worked for himself. Ironically, he didn't work as a programmer, he worked as a designer, making images, ads, and such, because at that time they were popular with high demand. This way, he covered his pocket money and rent. One time, Jimmy met his university friends. One told him he was working in programming for a company tasked with testing vulnerabilities in the websites they deal with. The company tells him this site has 3 vulnerabilities. Test how we close them. He tests, submits a report, another team reprograms and patches the vulnerability. Word for word, from talk to talk, this colleague told them that the task he's doing for this company, people like him do on the dark web, but get paid 10 times what he gets from this company. Jimmy was like, that's what I'm looking for. He entered the dark web and started searching the topic. According to sources, despite Jimmy being a programmer experienced in this field, he faced multiple hacking attempts and gradually learned more and knew how to deal with these sites. But he didn't know what tasks would be asked of him if he started providing services there. Soon he discovered he was facing an ocean of shady operations. Jimmy discovered the jobs requested there were all hacking. Visa account hacking, site hacking, data theft, vulnerability discovery. All operations in that world are crimes. Most importantly, the ones doing these operations are global hacking gangs. Any mistake with them means you're playing with your life counter. But Jimmy excelled in this place and accomplished complex works, specializing mainly in finding vulnerabilities. To know what finding vulnerabilities means, briefly, you enter a site and look for a programming hole in it. This hole lets you access information and data no one is allowed to enter, like bank accounts, wallets, user data, or site admin's data. What he did, as soon as he discovered the vulnerability, he offered it for sale for material compensation. Or you bring someone like Jimmy, ask him to go to your site and discover if there are vulnerabilities. He executes regardless if it's good or bad. Regardless of your goal, Jimmy didn't care what site you gave him, he'd show you its vulnerabilities and you do what you want. Now, if you're with me from the beginning, you surely know what Jimmy did and which sites he hacked. If you know who we're talking about, write it in the comments now. Right. The important thing, this talk started in 2010. At that time, Bitcoin started spreading and becoming known more, but not widely on dark websites.
Its value was very low, but Jimmy was getting paid in Bitcoin. Every 1,000 Bitcoins worth less than $1. Yet Jimmy took Bitcoin. All this happened on Silk Road's site. On this site, Jimmy collected $25,000, and of course, this number is huge for a 20-year-old guy working in programming and dark web in 2010. It was a good number. One time, one mistake exposed his identity. He withdrew the money in his account from the sites and left the Bitcoin. The number he left was 40,000 coins. He disappeared from the dark web world for a year, and not just that, he worked in a restaurant to remove all suspicions. In 2011, Bitcoin value reached $26. That's when Jimmy learned the news by chance. You can imagine his feeling and reaction. You're telling me the Bitcoin he had was worth over $1 million? When he heard Bitcoin reach that value, he left the restaurant without permission, saying, "I'm a millionaire now, no need to continue this job." He went, opened the dark web, and was shocked by what happened, which was expected. If you leave a Facebook page for a long time, you might find it hacked. Imagine a Silk Road account on the dark web. The account was hacked and disappeared completely. Jimmy tried every way to reach it, but in vain. $1 million evaporated and ended. So the solution? He said, God compensates. We must return to the field and start from scratch anew. And indeed, that's what happened. Jimmy returned providing hacking services and shady works, only accepting digital currencies in return. Soon he grew in the field, until the surprise when a client asked him to hack Silk Road itself. Can you imagine the request? Imagine someone tells you hack Amazon while you work at Amazon. Or rather, imagine someone tells you crack a cybersecurity company. The company itself is protected impossibly, yet someone asks you to breach it. Impossible. And not just that, the client asked Jimmy to hack Silk Road itself, and they were communicating on Silk Road. In short, like searching Google, "I want way to hack Google." I don't know what this client was on, but that's what happened. Jimmy refused immediately, but an idea lit in his head. Imagine you're the mafia godfather and can hack the world's most dangerous site. Where would you be? What could you do? Indeed, Jimmy decided to work on this, but quietly and from outside the site. What does that mean? Jimmy started testing to hack the site from a fake account he made on the dark web. Naturally, this new account registered on Silk Road, and from it he looked for a vulnerability. Naturally, the path was blocked. Impossible to find anything here. There's a crucial idea I must explain. Imagine I tell you a puzzle or riddle that no humans in all dialects could solve. Automatically, without awareness, your mind thinks of very complex things. You imagine the person who knows the solution must be a genius or have a Nobel in math. Why? Because from the start, I told you no one could solve this puzzle. The matter is very hard and huge. Jimmy had the same. Think this way, a site no one in the world can hack, all global security agencies helpless before it. So he started looking for very hard vulnerabilities no one would think of. Thus, the path was blocked. Here came the miracle. The surprise was the site had a vulnerability, a very simple one they should have fixed. The vulnerability was in withdrawing money. If you open a small shop, you'd put a big lock or 10 locks on the cash drawer. Imagine a site like Silk Road unprotected. Jimmy discovered a programming error in the deposit and withdrawal button. If you put money on the site and manage to press the deposit button 6 times before the next page loads, the amount doubles. If you want to deposit $5 and press deposit 6 times before payment confirmation, the deposited amount becomes $10, not $5. And for withdrawal, if you want to withdraw $5 from your account and instead of pressing withdraw once, press twice, you withdraw 10, not 5. A vulnerability like a game of worm you won't find. Imagine Silk Road wasn't paying attention, except Jimmy who noticed and started playing on the site. First thing Jimmy did, created 2 accounts on the site, one to deposit and withdraw from, another to offer services and withdraw from. Focus, because what he did was super genius. Jimmy, from his first account, entered money, say charged his account with Bitcoin worth $100, and pressed deposit 6 times, so $200 deposited. Why deposit in this account? To buy a programming service from his second account. Buys from second account a programming service worth $200. Completes the service, deal done, operation successful. Anyway, sir, Jimmy lived on a bed of silk.
Palaces, tourist trips, parties, matches, dinners. Goes on trips 60 people, pays for all. His house turns nightclub, as many parties as he had. Met artists, celebrities, did everything he wanted. But question, reasonable no one knew. Reasonable the U.S. government, strongest financial scrutiny in world, didn't catch him? Friend, we're talking hacker who breached strongest dark website. Impossible he gets exposed. Everything happened under fake names. Most trips outside U.S. or places famous for booking secrecy and dealings. Naturally, these places widespread in U.S. to attract political figures, world celebs like Jimmy without bothering them. Jimmy was one of them. Imagine he applied for South Pole trip. Private trip no normal person can go. Any person applies for such place gets file studied 100%. Biggest mistake, applied for such trip but has money like rice. More important, founded 3 companies specialized in investment, trading, programming, and real estate buying. Companies fake, all data forged. Goal to cover his works. At same time, invested with other companies in stocks and digital currencies. So fortune grew constantly. No Jimmy during clean investment journey increased his wealth 40%. Not him who doubled. Companies he invested with doubled it. Anyway, what happened next? Let's know what Silk Road did to him. As we said, Silk Road launched project. Anyone discovers our vulnerabilities gets 10,000 bitcoins per, but sadly, no one discovered. Solution, site shows best hackers on sites, offered them a mythical amount, still unknown, but some sources say much more than 10,000 bitcoins. Idea, we don't want to know vulnerability, want to know account benefiting from it. Don't want to know how theft happens, want to know who the thief is. Indeed, sir, after only 20 days, they found shady financial operations from 2 accounts, found both accounts one person, found account owner is Jimmy Zhong. What did they do to him? Nothing lightly. Site owner contacted Jimmy. I'll tell you what he told him, so video not deleted. But guy who has site full of world criminals and this guy? Imagine you became his enemy, hurt and stole from him. Imagine yourself what threat he threatened him with. At that time, Jimmy fled to the Bahamas Islands, fearing legal pursuit and fearing killing they'd hunt him for and make him disappear. In October 2013, one named Ross Ulbricht arrested. Who's Ross? Owner of Silk Road himself, who threatened Jimmy and promised to reach Earth's core. Then, story known, site closed, Jimmy escaped story. No one reached him ever.